Forced birthers are not stopping smortions from happening. They're just creating obstacles for women to figure out how to navigate around. So, this is coming out of Tennessee, which has a very strict ban on women's reproductive rights. This one says study. Thousands of Tennesseans travel out of state for smortion amid restrictive laws. This number is wild, y'all. It says a new study reveals that more than 10,000 Tennesseans left the state to get a smortion last year. 10,000. That is a lot. It says Friday we spoke with a local organization about how current laws restricting smortions are affecting many women. Rachel Fay, the VP of Policy and Strategic Partnerships at Power to Decide, says that chaos, that confusion is part of what hinders people's access to the care they need. According to a study from Guttmacher Institute in 2023, Illinois was the state most Tennesseans traveled to in order to get a smortion. Isaac Maddow Zimmett, a data scientist at Guttmacher Institute, says Illinois has become really a point of access for a lot of people in the Midwest, South, and Southeast. It's one of the places where many people can travel to. Illinois has also made a lot of efforts to make care accessible in this state. Tennessee Right for Life slammed the study in a statement saying the Guttmacher Institute is the research arm of Planned Parenthood. All states do not have reporting requirements for smortion procedures and patient demographics. They say Tennessee continues to strive as an example for other states so that they too will protect and respect the precious gift of life for all their citizens. Tennessee Right for Life claims that CDC data shows Tennessee is one of only 2 states with an increased birth rate since the Dobbs decision, which eliminated the constitutional right to smortion. But Nicholas Cobbett, staff attorney for the Center for Reproductive Rights, says laws like Tennessee's are going to harm pregnant Tennesseans. The Center for Reproductive Rights is fighting Tennessee on these laws. Cabot says a lawsuit has been filed on behalf of a number of Tennessee women who are struggling with pregnancies for medical reasons. They were all suffering some type of dangerous medical complication in their pregnancy, and continuing the pregnancy continued to make things worse. But the Tennessee law was a barrier to them getting the care in Tennessee. And so some of them ended up going out of state to get the procedure. Tennessee Right for Life says that in 2023, there were no abortions done in Tennessee except to save the life of the mother. That does not mean that no women had the procedure done who were living in Tennessee. In 2023, more than 170,000 women traveled out of state to get care, Faye says. The Power to Decide nonprofit organization helps improve reproductive well being. Generally, we've seen an increase in the percentage of abortions that are medication based in 2023. That was 63%. They say there are options for those in need of care. Go to Smbortion Finder. You enter where you are pregnant. I'm sorry, where you are in your pregnancy based on when you had your last period, and the finder will find you what clinics are able to provide care for you around the country. And there is this finder link. I will make sure to put the link at least on my on my YouTube page. There was a publication in the Tennessee Lookout saying, does the Constitution protect a woman's right to choose abortion? They were legal and uncontroversial at a time of the nation's founding, but what does the Constitution say about it? And this article was put out last December. Millions of women lost half a century of legal protection following the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the Supreme Court's 2022 Dobbs decision, the ruling that has led to a patchwork of wildly different laws across the state. Even as the latest poll, 64% of U.S. adults believe it should be legal in all or most cases, and even as pro-choice positions have won on ballot measures in every election since Dobbs, many state legislatures have kept the issue away from their voters. Republican-controlled legislatures in 24 states have passed or are working on total or near total bans. This landscape is untenable, as 167.5 million women now experience widely different rights depending on what state they live in. How does a document that does not mention the word abortion protect a woman's right to one? The Constitution was designed to afford all Americans rights and liberties regardless of their home state. Though the Constitution does not mention the word, several of the amendments should be interpreted to protect a woman's right to choose. The First Amendment: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Since the nation's founding, people of various faiths have held different views on Smbortion, on when life begins, and on what constitutes personhood. The question of when life begins remains a spiritual and religious one. Therefore, federal and state governments cannot show a preference for certain religious groups and their beliefs over others. Governments cannot pass bans simply because some religious groups hold the spiritual view that a fetus constitutes human life. The Fourth Amendment: the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. When a government bans abortion, it violates the right of the person, women, to be secure in their persons, bodies, against the government's seizure, government control of uteruses. The Fifth Amendment: private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. These bans violate the Fifth Amendment when the government does not compensate women for the 40 weeks of their property, uteruses, are made to serve the state's interest of birthing more humans. Also of note, legal scholars undermined exclusively male mandatory military service on the grounds that the draft violated the Equal Protection Clause of the Fifth Amendment, as it was a discriminatory burden applied only to men. Women prevented from accessing abortion face a similar discriminatory burden that is applied only to them. The Eighth Amendment: excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. Women are 14 times more likely to die from pregnancy than abortion. The U.S. ranks 55th in maternal mortality, falling behind every developed nation in the world. Women often undergo serious complications from pregnancy that negatively affect them for life. The Eighth Amendment was intended to protect convicted criminals from cruel and unusual punishment. So it seems odd that state governments would be so quick to exert the cruel and unusual punishments of a forced gestational period on millions of women who have committed no crime. The Ninth Amendment: the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. As mentioned earlier, abortions occurred legally and were not uncommon when the Constitution was written. Founding father Benjamin Franklin famously wrote an Smbortion recipe and added it to a textbook he widely distributed across the nation's country. Abortion remains a right the people have, despite that right not being explicitly stated in the Constitution, much like the rights to travel, vote, and marry. The 13th Amendment: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. While ratified to abolish slavery, the 13th Amendment has been used in legal arguments against human trafficking, child labor, and mandatory military service. So abortion bans are not so different, as they remove women's control of their bodies and force them to endure the dangerous work of pregnancy. The 14th Amendment: all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. In addition to explicitly providing protections only to persons born in the United States, notably not to fetuses, the 14th Amendment has been used for over a century to protect Americans' rights to make decisions related to family, marriage, and child rearing, as well as decisions relating to one's body and privacy, thanks to the Liberty Clause of the 14th Amendment. The government cannot force a parent to give one of their organs to their dying child who needs it, even if the child will die as a result of the parent's decision. With that being true, Smbortion bans that force pregnant women to continue gestating their fetuses are obviously unconstitutional. The equal protection language of the 14th Amendment also applies, as bans are discriminatory and impose a burden on women, but not on men, even as men bear responsibility for causing unwanted pregnancies. Even as bans are ratified, Smbortions increase. Removing women's right to Smbortion is unconstitutional and will not result in fewer Smbortions. The 30-year decline in Smbortion has reversed, with 8% more occurring in 2020 than in 2017, and 5% more occurring in 2021 than in 2020. In the year following the Dobbs decision, the states that banned them saw 114,590 fewer abortions than expected, but states that allowed the procedure saw 116,790 more abortions than expected, a net increase. Fewer Americans are becoming pregnant, and a greater percentage of those who do are seeking abortions. Rather than infringing on the constitutional rights of women, red states like Tennessee should see the warning signs for what they are. American pregnancy and birth rates are declining. States should provide the support their residents need to willingly raise healthy, happy children. States must stop spending their legislative sessions concocting cruel ways to control women. These forced birther states are not going to increase their birth rate by trying to control women. What they have to do is make it more palatable to actually live there, but they are not going to do that. We are going to continue to watch the birth rate decline. It will continue to plummet to hell, and it's going to force the women and girls that are there to move away. And women and girls will not go there for school or work after college. And it's going to push the physicians that are working in maternity, the labor and delivery departments, the nurses, to leave this state. All of these forced birther states are just harming women and girls. All right, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about these two articles. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.